So to the women's singles, and you can't get better than this. The world number one against the world number two. Wang Yihan, who started the week as the number 3 seed, has replaced her opponent during the week as the world number 1. Because Wang Shixian last week was on the top of the world rankings, goes down 1 place to number 2. The tall, elegant Wang Yihan. So Wang Yihan, the 23-year-old, up against the Asian Games gold medalist Wang Shixian. Wang Yihan, who incidentally turned 23 5 days ago. It's her birthday on Tuesday. What a wonderful birthday present it would be to win the first of the awesome BWF World Superseries events for 2011. So Wang Yihan, of course, in the yellow shirt, and she disposed of the defending champion, the number 1 seed, Wang Xin, in the semi-final yesterday. 2 straight games. Won all of her matches, incidentally, in 2 straight games. Lost in the semi-final of the Super Series finals a couple of weeks ago, did Wang Yihan. It's her 3-1 win-loss record for 2011. For Wang Shixian, she won those Super Series finals in Taipei. A week ago, she was number 1 in the world. Gone down 1 place. She was only not number 1 in the world for 1 week. But this, for Wang Shixian, her 5th consecutive final. Final, of course, of the Asian Games, China and Hong Kong Super Series events, the Super Series finals, and now here in Malaysia. It's not a bad record, is it? Well, Wang Shixian, as we look at our court officials, did have to go the full distance in her quarter-final against Chen Xiaoxie of Taipei. Dropped the opening game there. Well, there you can see the last time that they met was in this very tournament a year ago in the round of last 16. 21-11, 21-13 on that occasion. Interesting that of their 3 previous meetings, every single time they played each other, it's been won or lost in 2 straight games. But Ian, is it fair for me to say that this is possibly a grudge match? Because Wang Shixian, gold medalist at the Asian Games in Guangzhou, and her opponents wasn't even selected as one of the 4 singles players to go to the Asian Games. Of course, only 2 singles players allowed to play in the individual competition. But Wang Yihan, as world number 1, when selections were made, was not selected.
I think there's a nice subplot to this match, I have to say. World number 1 against world number 2, but the world number 2 was given the opportunity in the Asian Games and took it and played very, very well to win the Asian Games. But Wang Yihan, having not been selected, I'm sure she feels she's got a point to prove today.
Ladies and gentlemen, on my right, Wang Yihan.
Difficult to say who's under more pressure as well,
And
the Asian
on my
champion
left,
or the world number 1.
Wang Yihan, China. Wang Shixian to serve. Level play.
So the Asian Games gold medalist getting this women's singles final underway. Wang Shixian up against Wang Yihan.
One love.
It was very interesting to me the other day, Ian, when you were talking about players needing to, once they become the best in the world, especially the Chinese players, because they enjoy so much success at such a young age and they need time to consolidate that status and get used to the sort of pressures that they're under. And I just wonder whether Wang Yihan, I mean, her year in 2009 was absolutely exceptional. 8 finals, 7 titles. And by that sort of standard, she had a bad year last year, but she remained world number 1 until October. You know, and I wonder now whether Wang Shixian, having won the Asian Games, whether she's going to struggle with some of the burden of expectation, because she's never really had that previously.
Yes, it's a very interesting point, and in a lot of different sports they have this discussion that sometimes as young players, you're young, you're enthusiastic, there's no fear, and actually getting to the top of the world rankings is easy in some ways. It's fun, it's exciting, but once you get up there, if you haven't developed very strong characteristics and you're not fully mature as a character, it can be very difficult to deal with that pressure. And I think that's happened with 1 or 2 of the Chinese players in recent history, where they've got there maybe before they've got the maturity to deal with the situation.
Yeah, certainly from my own personal experience, I was very fortunate when I was a youngster to be playing with Gillian Gilks, and when we reached number 1 in the world, I felt as if I was riding on the crest of a wave, and all of a sudden, you know, being number 1, and every time we played, people were watching us, analysing us. The pressures suddenly became immense, and I had no idea of how difficult it would be until you've actually experienced it. So I think it's a very good point that both of these players, one's been told she's got to prove herself again, Wang Yihan. The other one suddenly has got the burden of expectation, and it will be a real test of character.
Yes, and I think it's character that's been questioned within the Chinese camp with Wang Yihan. She's undoubtedly very, very talented and a great athlete, but I think they're questioning whether she's actually got the character to support the real key situations, the highest moments of stress in the major championships. Whereas Wang Shixian has already shown with the Asian Championship that at the moment she's able to thrive on that, but then again, you know, she's yet to be tested as the top player in the world. You know, it's...
Yeah, exactly, because that Asian Games final, she wasn't expected to win. Wang Xin was expected to win, and I thought she looked as if she was under pressure. I have to say, I think that the biggest influence on Wang Yihan was probably her loss when she was playing first singles in the Uber Cup final in this very stadium, on this very court, when she lost to Bai Xiong He, and that of course got career off to a winning start, an advantage that they pushed home to a 3-1 win over the defending champions in the Uber Cup final. And I think that has really hurt maybe the Chinese coaches, because everybody assumed China were invincible as far as Uber Cup were concerned, and she shouldered a lot of the blame.
Yes, it's difficult to know looking from the outside, but it certainly looked as though the non-selection from the Asian Games was... She paid the penalty for that performance in the Uber Cup final, where clearly she got very, very stressed. She was expected to win. She was a heavy favourite going on in that first match, and that first match gave Korea such momentum.
It's a good rally.
4-7.
And one of Wang Shixian's real qualities is her ability to use every inch of the court. He really does make her opponents twist and turn, send them to the back of the court, bring them forward.
Yeah, Wang Shixian certainly started off this match as though she wants to dictate the play. She doesn't want to let Wang Yihan no time in the rear court to get organised so far. She's cut her time down on the shuttle, and it's Wang Yihan who's having to be reactive so far.
It's interesting, Wang Shixian was quoted in the newspapers this morning of saying, well, I'm absolutely determined to start this year as I started last year. A year ago, of course, the first of the Super Series events was the Korean Open. She won that, and she's publicly stated, want to get 2011 off to the same sort of start. I want to start with a win. It's confident talk.
Service over. 5-8.
Yes, Wang Yihan, I think, just consciously slowing the game down at the moment between the points. Just trying to take the fire out of the situation a little bit, because it's Wang Shixian who's started off much the quicker, and there's another example of it.
Service over. 9.
She's been very positive in her shot selection so far. Tricky, deceptive return of serve, creating the time for her to get behind the shuttle there to hit the winning smash. Very positive play from the return of serve there.
Oh, that's perfect length on the clear.
6-9.
Yeah, and Wang Yihan in the early stage of this game has tended to look for that deep forehand corner. Just wonder whether she feels there's a weakness there.
I think it was yesterday, Ian, you were talking about the net play of Wang Yihan and how elegant she is. She lunges forward, racket arm outstretched, taking the shuttle as early as possible.
Yes, I was a bit surprised in the semi-final that she didn't use the net a little bit more against Wang Xin to control the tempo of the game. But it looks as though she's going to try and use the net a little bit more in this match.
10-7.
Of course, Wang Yihan's got the more difficult end to cope with in the first set here. She's playing from the quicker end. More difficult for her to use the fast clears that she normally likes to use to open the court up.
Oh, wonderful.
8-10.
Good defence initially from Wang Shixian, but as soon as a little change of pace, just couldn't push forward in court.
11-8 interval.
So the mid-game interval. And of course no coaching staff will be involved because 2 players from the same country. And the 3-point advantage is with the Asian Games gold medalist.
Yeah, and this will be interesting for me, Jill. In the World Championships, in the final of the World Championships, Wang Shixian, for me, undoubtedly dealt with the intervals a lot better than Wang Xin. She was more positive coming off the breaks. She was able to take advantage of the breaks and the intervals between games. So it'll be interesting to see who can come out on top after the break here, who can take the initiative, because I was very impressed with Wang Shixian, coachless obviously against Wang Xin in the final of the World Champs, how she was able to take advantage of the situations.
11-8 play. Service over, 9-11. Service over, 12-9.
Now, as you were pointing out just a moment ago, very difficult for Wang Yihan. The drift in this arena means that shuttles flying towards this lady are flying a little bit quicker. And therefore, if Wang Yihan is lifting the shuttle, oh dear, that's a bad misjudgment. That's clearly landed in.
13-9.
Talked about the lengthways drift. Is there a bit of a sideways drift as well?
Yes, there is a slight side drift in the hall, yes. As we're looking at the court, there's a slight drift towards the umpire.
14-9. Service over, 10-14.
Call wide.
Service over,
Yes, and forcing the smash a little bit, because I think she's a little bit wary of using the clear from this end. It's just a little bit off balance there, which just took the shuttle out the side of the court.
service over, 11-15.
Disappointment very obvious from Wang Shixian. Yeah, it's the net plate. She really is very good when she's able to take the shuttle early.
See here, reaching out, using a height advantage there, able to take the shuttle very early and getting great control. Good turn on the shuttle.
Yes, that's great disguise.
Service forward, 16-12.
Yeah, it's difficult to pick the direction of that, just cutting across the shuttle at the last second to bring it down cross court.
Having misjudgment from Wang Yihan.
Service forward, 13.
Change of tactics there, using the body smash.
Yeah,
The short lift.
yeah. Just again, she feels as though she's got to hit down. I think from this end, she's actually not played the hall that well in the first game. She's left one or two shuttles that have been in. She's hit one or two out the far end, and Wang Shixian at the moment is dealing with the conditions a little bit better. That's great touch again at the net. When she is able to take the shuttle early at the net, she's got super touch. It's a great example, great technique.
Court. Service forward,
Yeah, good width from Wang Shixian.
14.
Yeah, she forced her to play from the forehand side and then the backhand. That's what we were talking about earlier, about always making her opponents twist and turn, making full use of the full court widths and lengths. Oh, it's absolutely delightful.
It's a lovely shot, but she's got the time because Wang Yihan's having to play a higher clear to keep it in the court. You see how high she hits that, and that means that Wang Shixian's getting a chance to get behind the shuttle and use a full array of slices, and that's a beautiful cross slice there.
It's found the line.
Service forward, 15-19.
Yeah, return the compliment. Great use of the full width of the court, making her opponent late in the forehand side of the court, quickly changing the direction with a steep angle to the other side. Again, using a reach well there. And quickly behind it. Getting a racket up above the shuttle and able to finish the shuttle. Finish the play there, hitting down. Great extension. Really good racket position and good lunge.
No, it's gone wide.
17, 19.
I think this is just an example of the slight side drift here. The shuttle just going a little bit wider than she probably anticipated when she hit.
Down the line. Goodness me.
18,
4
19.
straight points. And now just 1 point the deficit. Good retrieving. And again. What a rally. And a huge point.
20, game point, 18.
I think she'll be disappointed. She was able to get to the net and take the shuttle early, and that's one of her favourite shots there. Here, look, she's taking that early. That was a chance. That was a real chance.
So 2 game points to the Asian Games gold medalist. Wang Yihan is waiting the wrong side of the court. Now she's realised. Lift is long of the back line.
First game won by
And
Wang
so the number
Shixian,
2 seed,
21-18.
the Asian Games gold medalist Wang Shixian, closes out the opening game against the world number 1, her teammate Wang Yihan, 21-18. .21 of play. Wonderful badminton of the very highest quality.
Okay. 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
So Wang Yihan, who was told by head coach Lee Yongbo she had to prove herself again after she
Second game.
failed to live up to her seeding position in last year's World Championships.
Play.
Lost in the round of last 16 to Japanese player Hiroshi. Well, she's gone a long way to proving herself in my mind. Since then, she's won the Danish and the French. But she's got to come back from a game deficit if she's to win this Malaysian Open final because the Asian Games gold medalist Wang Shixian
Love.
has started this second game in very positive fashion.
Yes, and again, it's Wang Shixian who comes out from the interval the stronger. Very, very positive in the start of each session. I think with a coach, Wang Yihan, the coach would have been saying to her in the interval, don't worry about the first game, you're turning round, you're going to play from the easier side now.
Love.
But she's come out and it's a very tentative start to the second set.
Yeah, you were talking earlier about Wang Shixian when we watched her in the semi-final of the World Championships against Wang Yihan, and how good she was on that occasion. Is it purely a mental thing, or is it that she's just recovered a bit of energy from having that short timeout?
Love.
No, I think it's very much, she looks a very positive character. Her body language is positive, at times even aggressive, you might say. And she comes out of the intervals in a very, very aggressive manner each time. I think that's really quite impressive what she does, and she's really starting to take a grip on this second game already.
Yeah.
5 love.
Certainly with a 5-love lead in double quick time.
Wang Yihan had a good second half of the first set, really, you know, from the more difficult end, and should have been turning around saying, right, I've got the good end, let's take control, let's start to dictate the rallies. As it is, she's been quite passive, and there again, she's won the point, but that was a real opportunity to be aggressive at the net and impose herself, and she didn't, she blocked it off.
Yeah, she's certainly been more positive the last couple of rallies.
Yeah, that's the key for Wang Yihan, I think. When she's aggressive and when she's hitting down and looking to get in quickly, she looks a great player. But she's just been guilty of being a little bit passive at times in this match.
Oh, that's drifted wide.
4
Yes,
5.
and a little bit lucky, used the clear from quite short. Wang Shixian, that was a real chance. Yeah, she shouldn't be missing from there.
Oh my goodness, where did that backhand come from?
All.
That was tremendous. And back level.
That just didn't take her opponent by surprise. That took everybody by surprise, I think. That's a super shot. Great technique.
Seemed to change her mind there, seemed to pull away from the shot.
6 5.
Yes, and again, I think she'll be disappointed because great movement. Look at that. Got into a super position and then to miss from that close to the net. That goes down as an error.
Well, again, didn't seem to be playing the shot with enough purpose. Half-hearted attempt, really.
Yes, let the shuttle come to her in the end rather than pushing out and taking the shuttle as early as she could. Well, both players showing some signs of nerves here because they're both making uncharacteristic mistakes at the moment, particularly coming forward. Again, in good position, easy shuttle, no pace on the shuttle. You wouldn't expect it to miss from there.
No, it didn't have to be that close to the net because she pulled her opponent out of position. Huge gap there. Oh, that's a wonderful shot. Using her height and her reach so well.
Yeah, she's able to intercept that, uses her height to maximum advantage there. Oh, that's a super shot.
8-7.
Again, just a little bit too flat from Wang Yihan, giving Wang Shixian the opportunity to intercept the shuttle around the head there.
Yeah, there's the same tactic again. Down the backhand, and then the next one down the forehand. Down the backhand, there we go. Out wide to the forehand side, forces the error.
Point. 9-8.
Yeah, it's unusual for a ladies singles at this level. A lot of short, sharp exchanges at the moment. Both players trying to be quite aggressive in the early parts of the points. And just forcing one or two errors. A lack of rhythm in the game at the moment. And again, quite a surprising tactic from Wang Shixian, using the high service wide to a tall, aggressive player like Wang Yihan. Probably not the best tactic, I'm afraid. Yeah, another error. She's intercepted that shuttle quite short. Wang Yihan, a short clear. See how early she takes this. Good 2 meters up the court. She'll be disappointed to miss this.
It's just extraordinary. How many have we seen from round the head where she produces a wonderful angle, and there from the forehand side, reaches up high, slices across those feathers, creating the angle.
Wang Yihan just a little bit short in length. She was, in the first game, she was a little bit tentative with her length because she was playing from the quick end, and she really hasn't hit a good length from the slower end, where I would have expected her to force a lot more shuttles into the back corners.
Well, it's amazing when you think that Wang Shixian hasn't even been on the world tour for 2 years. Started playing international events in the summer of 2009. And already has had a week at world #1, already Asian Games gold medalist. I remember seeing Wang Yihan back in 2006, where in 2 consecutive weeks she beat the then world champion and world #1 Shi Xingfeng, and then the following week beat the Olympic champion Zhang Ning. So Wang Yihan seems to have been around and playing the tournaments for a lot longer, getting big results, whereas suddenly Wang Shixian just seems to have burst onto the world stage.
And again, Wang Yihan guilty of a couple of errors after the coaching break again, and it's Shixian who takes the first 2 points after the interval again. Interesting in the interval, Jill, I don't know whether you noticed, but Wang Shixian undid and retied her shoes, which we've seen over the years a lot of athletes use as a cue to raise your concentration levels, to give yourself something to focus on, to refocus, as a sort of signal to refocus. Wang Yihan just had a little wander around the court, no real purpose. Wang Shixian found something positive to do, get down, adjust the shoes, untie them, tie them, and come back out onto court. Something we used to see McEnroe use a lot of the time. John McEnroe in tennis was a good example of that.
Yes, and it certainly had the desired effect as far as Wang Shixian is concerned. On a run of 6 straight points. Make that 7 straight points. But 5 since the mid-game interval.
We did mention at the beginning the intervals can be critical where there's no coaches. They can be a real critical moment in the match, and I think it's certainly proving to be the case again. So many errors at the net from Wang Yihan, who I think is one of the best net players in the world in the ladies' game, and here she's made a string of really unforced errors.
Yeah, she just really hasn't found her range, or maybe she's just lost confidence in her net shots. Whatever the reason, those errors have cost her dear. Well, this is extraordinary run of 9 straight points. From 9-10 deficit to an 18-10 advantage. Oh, there's another error.
19,
Goodness me, 10 straight points against the world number 1. And finally the run comes to an end, but surely
11,
too late for Wang Yihan to turn this final around. Another error, and that gives the number 2 seed Wang Shixian 9 match points.
Kuala, 20.
That's a wild shot.
13,
Goodness me.
20.
Maybe thinking about picking up the trophy already. Got to stay focused to the job in hand. Oof.
14, 20.
21-18, 21-14. A comfortable win in the end for Wang Shixian, the Asian Games gold medalist.
Wang Yihan
Remains undefeated in 2011,
14.
having won the Super Series finals a couple of weeks ago. Now starts the OSIM BWF World Super Series with a win. Singles champion here at the Proton Malaysia Open. The final smash, the body smash, having made a couple of sloppy returns of serve. She will be very pleased with her victory here. 21-18, 21-14 against the world number 1, Wang Yihan.
Congratulations to Wang Shixian on your victory for the women's finals. Okay, Wang, we would like to know, you guys play often on a regular basis back home in China. You guys play so often that you probably have a personal record between each other. So what's the record like? Who's won more compared to each other?
之前他是想问你说你们不管在比赛还是在国内的那个训练，你们两个都曾交手很多次嘛？那你觉得你们双方的交手记录上，你觉得怎么样？
差不多吧，差不多。对对。好久没打了。
She said that they got win and loss also in during that match, but they haven't played for a long time. So actually, she felt that actually they are both like almost the same.
Wang Yihan, congratulations on becoming the world's #1 player based on rankings now. And I would also like to ask you, how do you feel the crowd response here in Malaysia helped your game so far?
首先要恭喜你在刚刚最新的世界排名重返世界第一。那你觉得这里的观众热情吗？支持你吗？
非常谢谢这边的观众吧，他们的掌声也非常的热烈，给我们加油。
So the courtside interviews going on.
Thanks for the crowd here. They give a big applause for them. Thank
Wang
you
Yihan
all.
having just
Once again,
thanked
thank you
the
and
Malaysian
congratulations
fans
to
for
Wang Shixian.
their support throughout the week. And there have been great crowds here every day of the Proton Malaysia Open.
Timbalan Menteri Belia dan Sukan Malaysia yang berbahagia, Datuk Lim Putra, Pengerusi Jana Kuasa Keuangan Persatukan Badminton Junior, dan yang berbahagia, Datuk Haji Sad Zainal Abidin Said Muhammad Tahir, Pengaruh Urusan.
So the presentation party getting ready for the prize presentation for the women's singles event. Both finalists make their way forward to the podium.
Women's singles, Proton Malaysia Open 2011, runner from China, Wang Yihan.
So Wang Yihan, the world #1, unable to find her best form today, especially with her play from the front of the court, normally so good with her net shots. Just couldn't find her range today, and to a large extent she wasn't allowed to play her natural game because of the quality of her opponents. Wang Shixian, the champion, of the Proton Malaysia Open 2011. She now has a 10-0 win-loss record for 2011, having backed up her win at the Super Series finals a couple of weeks ago. She's now taken the first Super Series event on the BWF World Super Series Tour for 2011.